at the very, very young ages, kids are not taught properly. And I'm not talking about just in Japan, China, and other countries. This is worldwide phenomenon, which is amazing. I think that the one thing is that people don't realize is that you can take very young kids at the age of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, those age, and actually teach them technique, and you can improve their technique. And technique is the foundation upon which you build all the rest of the games on.
Meet Tom Byer. Over the past 2 decades, he's forged a reputation as Japan's foremost youth football coach. He came to the country as a player, but soon moved into coaching, and he got his big break after gaining the backing of a major corporation.
I pitched them with the idea of doing a football kind of clinic program, and again, a little bit of luck involved in business, but I came out of the meeting basically having them commit to me doing 50 events the next year that would take me all around Japan, and then I had to figure out how I was going to do it. But then I stayed with them for 10 years, so I ran this massive program for them throughout the whole country, doing these events for children. I think it probably stems from me originally. I'm American from New York, and I didn't have good coaching when I was a kid. The other thing was that I saw an opportunity here as well in Japan, because I saw that football is quite passionate here, but I thought that the kids could be much better technically.
A disciple of the Ville Curva coaching method, which he introduced to Japan, the past 20 years have seen Byer establish training camps and football schools, such as this one in Chiba, right across the country. He also had a regular presence on television, appearing on a popular children's show every weekday morning for 13 years, as well as featuring in manga and producing best-selling instructional DVDs. He's made Byer, or Tom-san as he's known, a very recognizable face.
The whole idea was to make it as accessible to as many kids as possible so that they would practice on their own, and we'd also elevate the importance of teaching technique in Japan. And to kind of steal a phrase from my good friend Anson Dorrance from the United States, we basically kind of infected Japan into this whole idea that technique is what needs to be done. And we made it kind of cool for kids to learn too from the TV corner.
A lot has changed in Japanese football since Byer's arrival. The success of the national teams and the proliferation of Japanese players around the world's top clubs was unthinkable back in the early 90s.
I always tell people when I do presentations and things that in 1993 we had what I call the perfect storm. That's where basically Japan got knocked out of the '94 World Cup, so you had that desire and inspiration and motivation to get it right. And in 1993 the J-League was started. In 1993 the JFA threw their hat in the ring for 2002 World Cup. And interesting enough, on the grassroots level, in 1993 is when I introduced this technical teaching program to Japan. And I think all of that put together has made for a very good setting for what we're seeing today and the success that Japan's having.
And the far-reaching nature of Tom-san's programs mean that there aren't many players coming through the ranks who haven't been influenced by him in some way. He's coached the likes of Manchester United's Shinji Kagawa and Aya Miyama, the captain of the women's national team. But his philosophy doesn't involve just focusing on the elite performers.
In the olden days, when players would come off the bench, even on the national team, we'd go, oh my goodness, he's coming in. But now it's more controversial. Why isn't he starting? Why isn't this one starting? So the player pool is so much bigger. And the only way to really improve the very best players is by making the worst players better. So by doing that, now we've got this massive pool of just players that are just coming out everywhere. Almost every international tournament is a new star. So I mean, once you've strengthened that core, that's when you really see the big shift.
And Byer's influence is now spreading beyond Japan. He's active in Indonesia and recently signed a contract with the Chinese Football Association to oversee their grassroots program.
The Ministry of Education came together with the Ministry of Sport. They're two different ministries, and they formed what's called the Chinese School Football Program, CSF. It's in 90 cities, 4,000 schools, and approximately 2 million kids. So I'm sitting actually at the top of that as the technical advisor. I just spent a couple of weeks over there. It's a big challenge, but it's a very good time to be involved in Chinese football.
It's an unlikely tale, the son of a New York police chief becoming the face of youth football in Japan. And there could still be many more interesting chapters in the Tom Byer story.
This has been a wonderful journey for me so far. I think I've got a lot left to contribute as well. But yeah, this has been a great great time that I've had here and this experience that I've had and the opportunity. And again, it's not just me. I've had a lot of good people around me, a lot of good coaches, a lot of good administrators. But I'm the guy who's been on TV for so long, so everybody kind of looks to me, but it's been a real joint effort.
Sure.